starts getting a little bit hairy. I can't describe it in just a clip or two. I'm going to have to tell you this face to face. So we're headed out of Oklahoma City, and the plan is to try to make it to San Antonio by late evening. And as it turned out, I wasn't even going to be anywhere near San Antonio. So I made the choice to go into Dallas and spend the night in Dallas. So I pulled over, took Sadie for a nice little walk, made arrangements with my Airbnb in San Antonio that we'll have to put it off another day. Everything was fine. Get on Airbnb to, get a little new place set up in Dallas. It was last minute, but found what seemed to be a very cute, adorable little home. Got it all booked, all set to go, put my GPS in, and start heading into Dallas. Here it is. It's getting to be around 9 o'clock at night, and let me tell you, those people in Dallas, they are freaky drivers, 90 miles an hour, bumper to bumper on the interstate through Dallas. And I have not been that scared in a long time. Scared to death. Sadie was just going batshit crazy. It was insane. But I follow my GPS. It takes me into this very seedy area of town that I was not aware of. It was scary. Then to find the road was closed off to get to this home. Try to go around. It's not like Omaha. Let's just try to go around the block, take a few streets around to get to this home. No, it was insane. There was no way I was going to get to this home. So I called the homeowner. They were out of the country and couldn't help me. So I had to, I canceled it and realized I'm going to have to just find a hotel somewhere. So I pull over into this convenience store, and this big old black guy in a big clunky SUV zips up right next to me, screech, rolls down his passenger window. He needs to say something to me. Oh, and side note, I didn't mean that as a racist remark. However, when you find you're the minority in a very shady part of town, it gets a little scary. So apologies if that seemed a little racist. But anyway, so the guy says, he's got eyes as big as saucers, looks out the window and just yells over at me. And of course, Sadie is just going crazy trying to eat his face off through the window. And he just yells, "You better get up on out of here, lady." And I'm just like, holy fuck. And so I get the hell out of there. I have no idea where I am. Scared to death. So I zip on out of there, and, it wasn't too much longer that I found, those brown historic kinds of road signs. It said, historic Dallas, this way. And I thought, well, that's hopefully going to take me to a more well-lit area that's going to, provide a better place for me to be able to try to find a hotel. So I go down that way, and sure enough, it's a nice, nicer area of Dallas, a little bit more, modern, up-to-date, blah, blah, blah. More people, more lighting. So that was a good choice. So I pull over, try to find a hotel. They're either completely booked or they don't allow pets. So, I finally found one, historic Dallas hotel, downtown, close by. And so I booked it. And I go to find it. And let's see, hang on a second. I got to find something. Okay, so I wanted to remember the name of the hotel that I stayed at. So I stayed at Hotel Indigo. And, I think it was like $250 that night or something. It was, an insane amount. And of course blew my budget completely out of the water. Anywho, so total story on how to get to the hotel. The GPS took me there, but I couldn't find any decent parking anywhere. About a block away, I found like a parking garage. So I pull into this parking garage, and it's one of those corkscrew ones that you got to go up. And it was a tight corkscrew also. But I pull in there, and I swear to God, there's a drug deal going on right there. There's like 3 white guys standing outside a car, and they looked like they were on something. So I drove by them, and they all looked at me like they were crazy. Like, and I thought, okay, well, first of all, I'm not going to be walking by myself down past these motherfuckers. And so I go on up there, and I got turned around, and then I came zooming down fast because I didn't want him to like be able to stop me or something. And so I get out of there, and I'm like, well, guess I'm not going to park in there. Plus I had some, quite a bit of luggage, because when you have a pet with you, that's like a kid. You get a whole other suitcase just for the pet. So anyway, and then I had, my cooler with some food and things, that was going to help me save money on that. So I ended up, I had to freaking pay for valet parking, which of course, $25 plus tip, and then I go in there. And the bellhop was just so wonderfully nice. Such a very tall, very handsome black guy with just like beautiful dreads. Anyway, so we walk in, I go in there. Sadie probably was too exhausted at that point to be barking. She was very well behaved while I got all checked in. And everybody was super kind. I mean, by this time it was like 11 at night. It was getting super late, and I was so pissed off that all this happened. And so on the way up the elevator to my room, the dude with the dreadlocks, he's in the elevator with me, and we're chatting, and I'm asking him. I told him, I'm like, well, hey, I know this is a historic hotel. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Turns out it was the same hotel that, my God, what the hell's his name? I'll be back. Okay, sorry about that. Turns out, so it was the same hotel that Lee Harvey Oswald stayed in the night before the assassination of John F. Kennedy. That was pretty amazing, I thought. And I thought, well, hey, if I'm going to spend $250, might as well be in the same hotel that Lee Harvey Oswald stayed in. Make it a little nostalgic. Anywho, so I'll show you. I just have a couple of pics of Sadie in the hotel there. I totally forgot to take any kind of video or photos of all the cool stuff around the hotel. But anyway, so the next morning, come to find out, they charged me $75 to have Sadie with me. At that point, I should have turned my ass around and came back home. I'd already blown my budget. I'm like, I need to just go back home. But you know what? I was like, the Alamo has always been on my bucket list. And I thought, you know what? I'm this close. I'm going, people. I'm going. And so left there. I might have gotten a picture. Oh, hang on. Ron's calling. Sadie's living the high life at the Indigo Hotel. This was our view from the hotel room. This is out front of the Indigo Hotel the next morning. They were probably happy as clams to get that old biddy out of their hair. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so we left the next day, and I think I got a picture of the outside of the hotel. Pretty sure. Another $25, for valet, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then right across the street was the actual courthouse where Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald. I may have gotten a picture of that. I don't know. but that was cool. And, you know, I I probably should have like went sightseeing there that day, but I was really, my goal was to get down to San Antonio for sure. And so we just left there, and I thought, well, I'll circle back around, and on my way back, I'll stop in Dallas, and I'll go to the what is it, the book rectory or depository or whatever they call that place that's now a museum. I wanted to go visit that. Um, so I thought I'll just hit that on my way back because I'd also had an Airbnb planned on the way back through Dallas. So anywho, so I headed on down through San Antonio. So wake up, Julie, I totally forgot about this part. I basically, along my way down to San Antonio, I saw the proverbial squirrel and had to take off. I saw signs to Waco, Texas. And so I decided I needed to take a little side trip and see if I could find the site of the Waco, uh, you know, uh, disaster. And I certainly did. So I'll share some photos here with you. So I found the Branch Davidian site with little to no problem. Everything was very closed off and private. They certainly weren't welcoming visitors. Something I found very peculiar about the Branch Davidian massacre is that it took place exactly 2 years before the Oklahoma City bombing on the same day, April 19th, 1993. Kinda Twilight Zone, right? Anywho, they've rebuilt the compound and it looks just like the previous one. There are small cookie-cutter homes built nearby as well. I was climbing the fence to get a better picture when a red pickup pulls over. A tall white redneck dude gets out. Sorry, that also sounds racist. And he's walking towards me asking, "What the hell are you doing here?" I said, "Just sightseeing," as I quickly got back in the car and took off. Woo! So I headed on down through San Antonio and let's see. Oh yeah, another disaster. So I was going to get checked in at my Airbnb there, and of course, Airbnb had a wonderful photo of a beautiful home, nice younger couple that everybody looked very educated. It looked like a safe place. Blah blah blah. And so get on down into San Antonio. I thought, let me get checked into my Airbnb and then maybe hit little shopping or sites or something before I head to bed there. And so I pull up to the house, and of course, paint was chipping off the walls all over the place, and the grass was a foot high. Looked like a piece of shit. And the neighborhood wasn't too bad though. But anywho, so I go up to the door, and I knock again, and all of a sudden I hear all these huge dogs just start barking, and and um, and I hear this person coming to the door, and this woman opens the door, and I think it's Spanish she's speaking. Um, old lady, and she's naked, has a robe on, but um, and just weak, and like speaking Spanish, can't understand a word I'm saying. And I tried to communicate with her. I was like, are you the Airbnb house? And I'm Julie, and she's just like acted almost afraid. She had no idea I was coming. And so I'm like, okay. I said, okay, then, never mind, and so I get back in my car and I drive to like a strip mall that has a little cafe or whatever. And I call my Airbnb guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm on my way," or something like that. "We'll be there soon." And I'm like, you know what? Nah, ain't gonna happen. I need to cancel this. And um, so, so he was fine with that. He was okay. And I did let him know that his home was nothing like what the picture showed, and that needs to change, and blah, blah, blah. So he was okay, canceled that. And I thought, well, holy shit, I'm going to have to book me another hotel. And so then, let's see. So I'm at this little cafe and I notice that my phone is almost going to die. Well, my car charger, Sadie had chewed through the cord. And so I thought in my mind that I did not have a car charger. So I go into this little cafe. They had a little grassy area, outside of the patio area. And so I tied Sadie up there and I asked the waitress or the server if anyone there had an iPhone charger that I could charge my phone on for a while. And let's see. So I'm sitting there, had myself a little margarita, enjoying the beautiful San Antonio weather. So I was there for about an hour to let that charge. And sure thing, after everything was all done, and those servers were so nice. Two young gals came over, and they were just chatting up with me, and just seemed to have a good time talking to this old stupid woman from Nebraska, and so we had a good time. And then, so I go out to my car, and for some reason I looked in the console of my car, and mind you, at this point I had my car for over a year. but anyway, I just happened to notice in the console that there was a freaking USB charger thing that I could have used to charge my phone. And so, yeah. Anyway, so now I use that USB charger thingy all the time. Technology, wonderful. Anyway, so, time well wasted. We'll just put it that way. So while I was there, I was able to book it was like a Super 8, It was kind of it was a questionable hotel. Anywho, but it was cheap. I think it was only like $40 that night. I'm like, okay. So, and I think I have some photos of that too. So staying there, it's, downtown San Antonio, got checked in there, stayed in there, and next door there were, I know I sound so racist, and I don't mean to sound racist, okay? But there were a bunch of Mexicans. I think, why does this thing I don't know. I'm trying to keep it steady, but it just keeps moving. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, let's see. So, next door there were just probably a whole couple of families of Mexicans in the room next to me, and because I could hear them, speaking Spanish constantly, and washing their clothes in the sink, and I mean, you could just hear everything. And they were up all night, and of course, every time they'd say something, and you could hear them, that would get Sadie just barking her ass off. And so that was just, very little sleep was had that night. God. And once again, I'm saying to myself, I probably should have turned back. Clearly a dose of Riesling was what I needed to get me through that night. And here's a video of our hotel room. All right, this is where I have to stay in San Antonio. It's a nice, clean place. My Airbnb did not work out. Can you hear the lovely interstate? Shall I say plural? Interstates. Outside. And as you can see, Sadie feels the same way I do. Airbnb, I'm getting a little discouraged. This happened to me last night as well. Last minute bookings. You either end up paying outrageous prices or you get Motel 6. See ya. So that was day 2 and 3 of my amazing trip. I hope I'm not boring you too much because I just feel like this is a story that needs to be told. Let's see. Oh yeah, and by the way, apologies all around for my appearance earlier. As I was editing, I began feeling like, oh my God, I'm looking more and more like my brother every day. And that's not good because he's a man. So I will try to improve on my appearance for the remaining sessions. Let's see, hopefully that'll ease your gag reflex a little bit. Let's see, that's it for this episode of a harrowing yet somewhat comical journey. The disasters aren't over yet, so please stay tuned, and thanks for watching.